Ed Joyce completed his second century of the match, the first time he's done that, as his Sussex side closed in on a memorable LV County Championship win over Warwickshire on the penultimate day of their latest game at Edgbaston. The home side had shown a lot of guts on the second day to give themselves a 245-run advantage with 3 second innings wickets intact, and the overnight pairing of Ian Bell and Jitan Patel continued their excellent 8-wicket stand. Bell began the day on 144 and was soon at his 150 with a run down to third man. This exceptional innings had now been going for 236 balls, from which the England man had struck 15 fours and 1 maximum. He was not done yet either. The support he received from Patel was invaluable. The Kiwi doesn't make that many 50s, indeed this was his 18th in the first class game, but it came in good time, using up only 53 deliveries, with that being his 9th boundary. He'd helped turn this game in his side's favour just about. He'd come in with his team on 318 for 7 and leading by 176, but that lead was now being stretched as these two took their partnership for the 8th wicket into 3 figures. In doing so, Warwickshire also broke a club record of the biggest difference between their first innings and second innings scores in a match. They'd been dismissed for 87 on the first morning, but were now well into the 400s second time around. Patel was latching onto just about everything. He pulled John Lewis for a 6 as the total moved on to 436 and the partnership to 118. Patel had made 74 of those off 96 balls when he was finally dismissed, Steve McGoffin catching the edge to bring an end to a superb knock from the number 9. Chris Wright's innings lasted just a 1 delivery though, James Anyon supplying the perfect Yorker to send the middle stump cartwheeling. With only Oliver Hannon-Dolby for company, Bell now had to farm the strike and play his shots when he could. And that was quite often, as he dispatched Anyon twice over the mid-wicket boundary with superlative strokes. Hannon-Dolby did his job well at the other end, surviving for 45 minutes and 20 balls to take the total up to 471. A mix-up in the running eventually ended the innings, Hannon-Dolby trying to get back for a second that wasn't really there. Bell was left on a brilliant 189 not out, and that had left Sussex with a tough target of 330 to make it 2 wins out of 2. They should have lost Luke Wells very early on, but he was dropped by Laurie Evans at second slip, just the place Ricky Clark would have been had he not been injured on the previous day while batting. It was as comfortable a slip catch as you're likely to see, and it was to prove an expensive drop too, as Wells and Joyce were instead able to give their side a very good start. Joyce had been a little annoyed that his side had not built on their bowling performance on the first day, when he had to settle for a much smaller lead than he would have liked. None of that would matter now if his batsmen could get their heads down and knock off this rather significant target. The good news was that the pitch was playing well, and the Warwickshire were without the aforementioned Clark, who took a painful blow on the fingers from Chris Jordan while batting. Given all of that, and the fact that both openers got themselves in and were soon seeing the ball well, Sussex began to grow in confidence. Warwickshire would have been hoping that Patel, who turned down an invitation from New Zealand to tour the West Indies this summer, would find some turn. He almost had Joyce taken at short leg, although it would be unfair to call this a real chance. The one man the home side would not have wanted to see bed in was Joyce, who continued the form he showed during his brilliant first innings 100. This caressed boundary, his 6th, took him to another half-century, this one arriving off 92 balls. The way both he and Wells played the spin of Patel would have given the rest of the side sitting in the pavilion real heart. Wells matched his skipper, and both were still at the crease with more than 100 runs on the board by the time that the tea interval arrived. After it, Wells also completed his 50. His had occupied 124 deliveries and was reached with his 8th boundary. He struck Patel for another one next ball as the runs required were reduced to fewer than 200, and there was still no sign of a wicket from anywhere. Sussex have begun this season in such a confident manner, and they seem to have it all right now. 41 overs went by, and the 2 openers knocked off 135 runs of their target. But then Warwickshire were given some hope. Look at the joy from Evans at mid-wicket when this time he did hold on to a flick from Wells, who left with 57 runs to his name and his side well placed. Warwickshire now needed to make that count by adding more wickets quickly, but the incredible Joyce moved on totally unfazed. He appears to be in the form of his life right now, timing the ball exceptionally well as he moved closer to his third first-class 100 in 4 innings this summer. The target had been reduced to 142 by the time the home side struck for a second time. This time it was Michael Yardy who was out, failing to get enough on an attacking shot off Patel. Wright took the easy catch. But that was to be it for Warwickshire for the day, although it shouldn't have been. Jonathan Trott dropped another easy slip chance to give Joyce a life in the 90s, and he was dropped again behind the wicket next ball. Patel's annoyance was in evidence when Joyce then cut him to the boundary once more. Rory Hamilton-Brown, meanwhile, appeared to be in a hurry to get the job done. He was given some balls to hit, to be fair, early on, and that helped him get in. And once in, he played some terrific shots. 330 was beginning to look like a rather easy target in the last innings. Amazing given the events of the first day of this match when 20 wickets fell in a flash. Now batting looked comfortable, and Hamilton-Brown was making the most of his time at the crease, scoring it quicker than a runner ball. He didn't bother with too much running between the wickets either. Joyce has seen a lot of things in his excellent career, but one thing he'd never managed was to score 200s in the same game. This shot ensured that that monumental task was ticked off. He's batting as well as ever at the moment, and his third century of the season and his second in 3 days was made under some pressure. Yet he was at the 3-figure mark off his 172nd delivery after surviving for exactly 4 hours. He struck 11 fours and was pushing his exceptional side towards their second LV County Championship win of the summer. The home attack looked to be close to a spent force by the end of the day. They must have thought that they'd turn this game on its head after that awful first session, but now they were being taken to the sword by both Joyce and Hamilton-Brown. This is not what is supposed to happen in the 4th innings of a match, especially at this time of year when chasing down 330 should be nigh on impossible. This pair were making it look rather comfortable. They ended the day just 57 runs shy of their second success of the summer and announcing themselves as a team to beat this year. It will also be only their second win at Edgbaston in the last 53 years. Hamilton-Brown has made 48 from only 41 balls, while Joyce will hope to be there at the end. He'll resume on the final morning on an awesome 125, made out of his side's 273 for 2.